it remains to be seen what happens next. Eventually, price is going to break that yellow line. It's going to break that yellow line to the downside, or it's going to break that yellow line to the upside. I believe my model suggests that there's a good chance that Bitcoin is going to make a new all-time high before the 2024 halving. In past cycles, you've seen Bitcoin make a new all-time high after the halving. And in the process, it's had an 85% drawdown. That would take us back towards or somewhere around Bitcoin $10,000. And then it would have us trading somewhere in the past. We've looked at Bitcoin trading roughly 50% off the all-time high at the time of the halving. That would put Bitcoin somewhere around $30,000, $35,000. None of that really matters because all that matters for us, as you know, is Chio is executing on CTM 2.0. That has had us on the sidelines here, buy side only, since 45,000. And I was looking this morning at a couple of very interesting things. This was one of the first models I had ever seen when I first found out about Bitcoin, and it's a beautiful one. It's the logarithmic nonlinear regression, and this was the last time it was updated in 2019. When it was first introduced, it was a lot earlier. I think it was somewhere around 2013 when it was first introduced, and then fast forward to 2000 and into 19, and the model was off the mean price over here, the baseline. And I wonder in 2024, 2025, is it going to be back? Will it have reverted back to the model mean? It's around $500,000 Bitcoin. And I don't know, but what I do know is that we have much more data now, right? And I believe the model that we use here or that I use, I don't know who espouses it to it and who doesn't. And obviously it will be as much use to you, whether it is right or wrong. But I believe this is much more accurate for accounting for the rate of adoption and the price slope, the green line at 107.17% year over year. And this places this model, the green line, the baseline is giving us a price January 6, 2025 of $250,000. Now, price is normally above that baseline, which means it's quite possible that the first sketch is going to be pretty close too. So whether or not this is right or wrong or catches back up, because it overshoots to the upside, it overshoots to the downside, overshot to the upside, overshot to the downside. Where did this end up? It didn't even shoot up to the line this time. In 2020, at the end of 2021, this peaked out at $69,000, short of the $100,000 baseline for this. There was a lot going on. The Federal Reserve, it started smashing the brakes and reversing its policy, and that could be or cause momentary deviation. But over a given amount of time, if the current adoption continues, what do you think is going to happen? And I was looking at that this morning, and then in light of this, also asking, I can't find it, so sorry about that. I'll just move forward. I was asking for help if people were able to find any type of TradingView indicator that gave some type of log regression channel, and this was the only one that was shared with me, and it doesn't work because if you change time frames, it just keeps moving, and it doesn't show me anything from the past that's relevant. So I can't find one, and I'm interested to look at what Amazon looks like with that as well. And it's not Amazon's just the asset, I should say, that helped me discover the life cycle of the adoption of technology and how S-curves work and the exponential growth. And you could see it's this portion over here when it escapes the facing reality phase that it goes into that ultimate market opportunity and climbs up exponential. Many people don't see that coming on Bitcoin. They view it a lot differently. It's not just on Amazon. Amazon happens to be the one that I have this fondness for because I was able to spot Bitcoin within Amazon to help have a better understanding of what's going on. This is Microsoft doing much of the same thing over here. And you can see that this is when Microsoft entered. Do you remember Windows 95? Do you remember Windows 95? How many copies did they sell worldwide of Windows 95? And then, finally, this is when Windows just kind of broke, right? And people people fell more in love with Mac, I should say, than Windows. But during this time, this is when Microsoft made it into the ultimate market opportunity and took advantage of those PC software sales. And then it reached a sustainable market. And it went sideways for a while. And I imagine that Bitcoin is going to do much of the same if the current rate of adoption continues. I imagine that Bitcoin, somewhere around 2028, I have a guideline or a guidepost that's pretty far out there. I'm talking to you about Bitcoin, the beginning of January 2025, trading at $250,000 or above. It's usually trading at above. What happens after that if the current rate of adoption continues? Somewhere around 2028, somewhere around 3 billion users, I imagine that it hits a sustainable market. And I imagine that Bitcoin starts rounding out as the adoption curve rounds out, and something like this takes place. I don't know what it's going to look like, but a sustainable market will be reached. Until, and maybe if, what happens to credit markets break? Or what happens if the Bitcoin standard is adoption by nation states, not just like the likes of El Salvador, but you start seeing the central banks of the largest economy in the world adopting the Bitcoin standard? Maybe then perhaps Bitcoin would go on to another ultimate market opportunity and go exponential once again. I don't know, but these are the things that I find fascinating and do think about a lot. And that's just digging in a little bit further into the technology adoption life cycle and where we are and where we continue to be. And I know we have the tools to trade within that and do even better. But nevertheless, it's all very important. I didn't get a chance to discuss this though. This was just as I was going from that Amazon chart, right? This is on how SKUs. I just came across this doodle that I had, and because it's not like I just like put together this chart. It's not like it just appeared. It took a lot of work. It's a trial in progress. And coming back to this view over here that I was just sharing with you, like at some point in time along the way, this is what I had worked. And the one difference is, and I want to point it out to you, is that this is lining up and touching the candles, not from 2015, but also during the March crisis. Okay? The way that let me move this over and let me show you the difference. The way that I view. So this one here, it has us. So this one over here has like the absolute low trend line coming in. Let's call it 23 and change. This one is different, lining it up from the wicks. This is not lined up from the wicks. This is lined up. You can see the difference from the low of that wick. And then it allows for this being an anomaly. For actually the dollar liquidity crisis, the global lockdowns is an anomaly, and the trend line picks up over here. If you're looking at it where it's not an anomaly, which it may or may not be, right? Then you're looking at support coming in right around the new all-time high. This coincides, by the way, with the linear trend line that we look at, or that I look at over here. It's coming in at the same place. So that's interesting as well. And I don't know which is obviously correct. This is happening in real time, and I'm trying to figure it out. But I do know that for either one of these views, whether you look at this one or you look at this one, they both have the same angle of 107.17. So further explanation on our adoption of technology model. My thoughts on the recession and potential food crisis. I think I saw some type of preliminary reports or actual reports for GDP being 1.8% right now. China, by the way, is talking about having a negative GDP print. That is crazy. So technically, is the U.S. in recession right now? No. There are a lot of people that say it is, and maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. But I don't know. We also saw yesterday the first time the Fed pivoting more dovish, talking about, I believe, around sometime in September. I don't have it pulled up. We'll talk about it maybe tomorrow, but only because this is not as important as what we're working on. You can see that the rate hike expectations are now actually changing. This is stuff that we talked about 2 weeks ago, though, right? And you could see it already happening. And that was the basis that we were going off of there's a good chance that the market right now is priced to perfection and that potentially we could see CPI leveling out, even coming slightly off. And if that happens, then the market is going to have to price in less rate hikes, and that is or could send off a repricing of risk, and none of that's changed. That's continue happening, and I can't really go that far out yet. We need more data. We need to see what's happening, and I think from afar right now, JL, the way that I see it, that's a big thing today, David. Thank you for mentioning FOMC mean minutes today. Fantastic situational awareness. Thank you for bringing that up. I foresee the most likely path forward from here until the fall as being some type of relief rally. And what happens from there remains to be seen. But I have to tell you, I've been looking for that for a long time. I've been looking for that to happen since March. And what happened was there was a sharp rally in March. This is it right here. I expected it to go a little bit longer and higher. And that didn't happen. And that was sold hard for a big leg down. And I'm saying to you the same thing now that I said over there. And I expect that we are looking at some type of relief rally. And I expect it to go potentially through the summer. And I can't really go further than that. And it doesn't mean that in the process here, with we could get a leg down. I don't think the leg will be a big leg down, but we can make a lower low here, not just on the equity markets here. It could happen on Bitcoin as well. We could take out that low of 25,500. If we do, I don't think that it's going to be a big move below, whether on equity markets or on Bitcoin. And then I think from there we move towards, again, that period of relief rally. I think right now that the market's kind of freaked out, and I think that there's going to be a little bit of pause of the way people are positioned right now, and I can't really think or see it further out than that. And let's see if we get that right. All right. So thank you, Cassidy, for obliterating that like button. I really appreciate it. And have a beautiful day, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Tomorrow's a big day here. We got a 10-year anniversary of being married to my beautiful bride. And we'll be live for that. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, everyone. Have a really good day, and I'll talk to you soon.